So I've been having unexplained pain for the past couple months, and I had no idea what was going on, and it was getting worse constantly. And eventually I found out exactly what it was. Hi, I'm Ryan, and I have something called peripheral neuropathy, which is basically a disease that attacks your nerves directly, and it messes with the way you feel things. I feel heat burning, ice cold, my feet go numb randomly, stuff like that. And the thing was, I didn't know that this was going on, and it had been going on for months. So why did it take so long to figure that out? So if you've been feeling some unexplained pain for an extended period of time, these may be some clues that I can help you with to maybe track down the cause. Chronic pain is different for everyone, but for me and people with neuropathy, it can be very, very difficult to diagnose. Pain in general can be hard to diagnose, especially when they don't see it on its face. It's not a cut or a burn per se. With specifically neuropathy, there are many causes.
So what is neuropathy?
So neuropathy is a issue you have going on with your nervous system peripherally. So it's not affecting your brain or your spinal cord like in MS. It's actually affecting the nerves outside of your spine. So in your arms, your legs, your hands, your feet. It can be on your face as well. The problem a lot of people have is they often stop when they get the diagnosis of I have neuropathy. But neuropathy is not a disease in and of itself. It is a symptom of another cause, and that's what I'm still trying to figure out. Why am I having these symptoms?
Why is unexplained pain so difficult to track down?
Pain is really hard to narrow down because one, it's unexplained, and once they kind of go through the basic tests and they kind of give you the nod of like, oh, you don't know what's going on, you really have to dig deep. And especially for neuropathy, it could be loads of things. I'm talking about diabetes, which actually makes up for about 60% of the total amount of people with neuropathy. There's also things such as HIV, hepatitis. Chemotherapy can actually induce neuropathy. People experience it after having chemotherapy. Certain antibiotics can be associated with neuropathy as an extreme symptom associated with it that can leave permanent damage. Another thing that can happen is that you develop an autoimmune disease like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, you name it, hundreds of them. Those could ultimately give you symptoms of neuropathy later on if that disease progresses or is not managed correctly. You can also have something very simple, something like a vitamin deficiency, or if you're popping those energy drinks like I used to, some vitamin toxicity, which in turn can cause neuropathy specifically with your B vitamins and a lot of your minerals, something that us in our Western diet don't get enough of, or sometimes way too much. Yes, I'm guilty of that. Energy drinks, I like them. But another thing is about 30% of the people diagnosed with neuropathy, they get something called idiopathic. That is their diagnosis. Basically means we're idiots, we can't figure it out because they don't know what's going on. They've done a bunch of tests. A lot of times they haven't done all the tests you could possibly do, but eventually they just get to a point where they're tired of seeing you at the doctor's office. I'm getting there. They just say, well, it's idiopathic, learn how to manage your symptoms best you can, and that's kind of where you're at.
What are the different types of neuropathy should somebody?
Now, on top of that, there are different types of neuropathy. There are 3 types exactly, which was very fun for me to learn. I have something called small fiber neuropathy, which means I have it in my sensory nerves or in the skin. So it affects the way I feel things. There's another thing called motor neuropathy, which actually affects the way your arms move, your wrists move. One of these neuropathies is very common. It can be called carpal tunnel syndrome. Technically, carpal tunnel is a form of neuropathy. It's mononeuropathy, meaning it's affecting only one nerve. Polyneuropathy is something that I have going on where it's affecting multiple nerves all over my body. All my sensory nerves are just flipping out, and it's wonderful for them. So that's one thing. And then there's a very fun one called autonomic neuropathy, which affects the things that you never think about, maybe like your breathing or your heartbeat, blood pressure, maybe that good old bladder that has you going every 10 seconds and you don't know why. Could be neuropathy. So if you have some of those problems, especially if you're urinating a lot, which is something that I do, but I drink tons of water, so it's a little bit different. If you're doing that and you notice that and you don't know why you're not drinking a ton of water, I would definitely go get it checked and see if you are possibly diabetic, because that is one of the first signs of diabetes, and you don't want to let it lead down the road where it can get to neuropathy.
So if you've got unexplained pain, what are some of the things that you can do?
So if you have unexplained pain, I would definitely start trying to figure out the root of the problem, because just because your shoulder hurts doesn't mean you have a problem with your shoulder necessarily. For me, it started in my hand. I thought I had carpal tunnel, but it turns out I basically don't have anything wrong with anything like that. It's all just within my sensory nerves. You have like a pain like in your face and it can't be tracked down to like a certain muscle or the way you slept the night before and it's been going on for several weeks to over a month. I would say go get that checked with a doctor and start digging deep. Don't become a hypochondriac like me on Google, but it doesn't hurt to start doing a little digging. And if you want to chat with me, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Ryan Mitchell Brown, and please subscribe to this channel if you found it helpful. I'm tracking my journey along this wonderful path we call neuropathy, and I want to help people out there with chronic pain. And hopefully I will see you all in the next video.